high-stakes testing for New York City premier high schools, such as Stuyvesant, Brooklyn Tech, Bronx High School of Science. High-stakes testing. Historically, where did it begin? It began with Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, 2,600 years ago, when he made an issue that people in the civil service should pass some type of a test for qualifications. High-stakes testing also was used to qualify the African American women who were mathematicians, who helped put John Glenn in orbit and to bring him back to a safe Earth landing. Again, high-stakes testing is also used in hiring the personnel at NASA, the ones who put the man on the moon. So high-stakes testing has a long history. It was not created by Europeans. Europeans just copied it over because it was a very successful philosophy. On the next slide, we have ACT scores. ACT test was created by Europeans or white men, white people, and it was created to find out what kids could perform well in college, and as a diagnostic test to see whether or not somebody should go to college. ACT has the highest scoring group as Asians in the green line above. The lowest scoring group is African Americans, the blue aqua line on the bottom. Again, Asians have the highest score. Whites have the second highest score. In the next slide, we see family income, median family income. And we find that Asians have the highest family income. African Americans have the lowest family income. And again, Asians have the highest AT score. African Americans have the lowest ACT score. And on the next slide, we see ACT scores versus income. And again, there's a direct one-to-one correlation how a group does on the ACT score and how they do in income. The highest scores, Asians, have the highest family income. The lowest scores, African Americans, have the lowest family income. And then whites, Hispanics, American Indians are somewhere in the middle. Again, this shows the validity of this ACT or high stakes testing, that it does measure something. The next chart shows the asset scorecard for communities of color. And it's broken down by white, black US, black African, Latino, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, and Asian Indian. And we see Asian Indians have the highest asset score. Asian Indians also, some of them are as dark as some African Americans. And again, I think this proves that skin color has no determination on how well you do in Western society. We see whites' asset score is lower than Korean, Vietnamese, and Asian Indians. Chinese have a score of 220,000, whereas whites have 284,000. We also see that US blacks at 3,500 score higher than black Africans at 3,000. And again, this is the total assets scorecard for communities of color. This next chart is an international scorecard of a test, PISA, and anybody who wants can Google this. And it's the math and reading scores of 14 and 15 year olds in different countries. And not only that, it is all broken down by your subgroups. Whites having the highest score, the mixing of whites, Asians, blacks, and Hispanics as the United States as a whole. Hispanics somewhere in the middle, and Africans at the bottom. And again, this is an international score, and it definitely is something that is used by countries, or that is companies, where they want to create jobs, especially high income, high knowledge / cognitive jobs, such as information technology. This last chart shows the changing demographics of Stuyvesant High School. Again, one of the premier high schools in New York City. It shows Asians are greatly represented, then whites, then Hispanics, then African Americans. And again, this does relate to how well they do in this high stakes testing and how well they do ultimately in ACT scores. Thank you very much. I will have more information and PowerPoint displays later on. Check back soon. Thank you again. Bye.